What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the World of Juice channel, and welcome back to another Madden rebuild. That's right, we are back rebuilding teams in Madden. I haven't done this in a minute. I think the last one I did was the Baltimore Ravens a couple of months ago. It's been a minute since we rebuilt a team here in Madden 26, but I thought the timing was right because we are starting to get the final teams figured out for the playoffs. We've got the final four teams. It is the Rams and the Seahawks in the NFC side for the NFC Championship, and it is the Broncos and your boys New England Patriots. They're back, baby. Dynasty 2.0. Actually, Dynasty 3.0 technically, but that's the AFC and NFC Championship. And the reason I'm rebuilding the Houston Texans is because they were bounced by the Patriots in the AFC divisional round. As of recording this, that's the most recent playoff games to have happened. And I'm assuming by the time this goes up, that'll still be the same thing. So while watching that game, because obviously I was watching it, I'm a big Patriot fan, I'm going to watch my team. So while watching that game, I'm also a big CJ Stroud fan. And during that game, I realized something. I was like, this Texans team needs some help. This Houston Texans team needs the Juice's touch. And so here we are. We're going to be rebuilding the Houston Texans. That offense was horrible in that divisional playoff game against New England. They could not run the ball. Credit to New England's defense for doing that, for stopping that. And CJ could not stop throwing interceptions. Now, some of them weren't his fault. A couple of, I think he threw four. Did he throw four or five? He threw something like that. A couple of them weren't his fault. A couple of them were unbelievably bad throws by him. And he just didn't look right. Now, it was snowing, it was cold, maybe that was a factor in it. And he also had, when he threw a pass late in the game, he had hit his hand on a player's helmet and like jammed it or something. So that also may have been a factor. But all in all, he's still got to make these throws. This is a playoff game. Your season is on the line, and he did not look good at all in that game. He was bad. It was bad. There was a lot of turn. Both, to be fair, both teams looked bad. At least the offenses did. The defenses were fantastic. We knew going into the game the Texans defense was legendary. They were going to be unbelievably good, and they lived up to that. The Texans defense was great. The Patriots defense was great as well. Both offenses were a little bit rough. I'll say that much. And that's 2 weeks in a row now with the Patriot offense looking a little bit rough, but that's a story for a different day. So we move now into the offseason for the Texans. What are they now? They were beat up really bad. They had a lot of injuries. I'll give a little bit of leniency to the Texans because they had a lot of injuries. A lot of their top guys got hurt. Dalton Schultz got hurt in that game with a calf injury. Nico Collins missed the game. He was out. So, and among other people. So they were definitely pretty weakened on offense. But the fact of the matter is, it's still a divisional round playoff game. It's still your season on the line. And when the moment was brightest, the Texans offense was one of the worst offenses that I've ever watched. Snow, weather or not, it was bad. It was bad. So I thought I needed to step in. So now we jump into Madden 26. I did load in a real draft class, so we're going to be working with the 2026 draft class. I thought it'd be fun to have the 2026 draft class and maybe do a rebuild every once in a while with real draft classes as we get moving towards the actual draft in April. I think, right? Is it always in April? So I thought it'd be fun to do that. So we'll be doing real life draft classes for this video, which means Jeremiah Smith will be in next year's draft class and so on and so on. But anyway, I did get the record correct. So the Texans won 12 games like they did in real life. And then I simulated the whole year and I simulated through the playoffs. So the only thing that is correct in this simulation is the Texans won 12 games and they lost in the divisional round. They won a wild card game, but lost in the divisional round. So that is the only thing that's correct. All the other teams, all the other results, I didn't care to try to fix. That would have taken way too long. So the only thing that's correct is the Texans. That's what we care about. So we pick up in the offseason, right where the Texans are going to be picking up, and we're going to try to fix this team headed into 2026. So if you're going to enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club, and most likely I'm going to be taking on more teams that lose throughout the playoffs. I'll probably do a Bears rebuild. I don't know if the Bears need a rebuild. The Bears are on the rise. They've already kind of done their rebuild, so the Bears probably don't need a rebuild. But I might do a Whoever loses between Seahawks and Rams, rebuild. Whoever loses between the Broncos and Patriots, hopefully it's the Broncos. I might do a Bills rebuild, could be fun. That might be something. So I don't know. There's a lot to do because this playoffs like slate that we've had so far, the wild card games and the division round games have been really, really good. A lot of interesting things have happened, storylines galore. So who knows what the next rebuild you'll see from me is. But let's get into it. Let's try to rebuild the Texans because they need a little bit of help. Their team is in a weird spot basically. So let's do this. Here we are. Like I said, we pick up right at the end of the 2025 season. Now, this goes to show you just how much the EA people love Kansas City. They won the Super Bowl. Like I said, I didn't adjust any other records other than the Texans record. And so the Chiefs ended up winning the Super Bowl, which is not ever going to happen again, probably, at least not in the next couple of years. Their team has fallen apart. So they're still favored by the EA gods. So they won the Super Bowl. Here's the season recap. Matt Stafford won the MVP. Maybe that is a little bit of foreshadowing. I don't know. Hopefully not, but hopefully maybe it is. Brian Dable won Coach of the Year. That is certainly not going to happen. Puka Nakua won the Offensive Player of the Year. DeForest Buckner wins Defensive Player of the Year. Jackson Dart and Jalen Walker are your players of the rookies of the year. Good for Jackson Dart. I like Jackson. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. At least he's got the makings of a pretty solid quarterback. Maybe on the level of a who's a kind of a decent quarterback, but not like a great quarterback. I don't know if he's going to be an all-timer, but he's probably going to be a decent quarterback. Maybe he's on the level of a Jordan Love, where he's a good quarterback. He can get you into the playoffs and win you some games, but he's not going to be like a dominant force. But that's just my opinion. I don't think he's going to be like Drake May or anything, but who knows? We'll have to see. So let's get to this offseason. We've got some retirements. I saw Aaron Rodgers retired. You probably can't see that because my camera is covering it. But our retirements, we have Jimmy Ward, Trent Brown, and Danico Autry. And there is Aaron Rodgers and Cam Hayward and Cooper Kupp, which is kind of funny. DeAndre Hopkins. No Derrick Henry, though. Derrick Henry comes back for another season. Very interesting. Okay, so let's get started here. We've got $77 million in cap, and this is one of the first rebuilds of 2026 that I'm doing, like starting in the offseason, which is kind of interesting. It's going to be fun to try to navigate through not even like worrying about a first season. So we got negotiations to take care of. Obviously, we're going to be accepting Will Anderson Jr.'s contract or fifth-year option. That's pretty obvious. And we are going to be picking up C.J. Stroud, even though I probably should pay him and get that out of the way because he might be more expensive, but we're going to pick up his option anyway. So that leaves us with Christian Kirk, Nick Chubb, Ed Ingram. Actually, it's not that big of a negotiation. Like, there's not a lot of guys that are absolutely mandatory to bring in. This is the Texans roster after a season of sim from getting to this point, the real life point. And I didn't want to do like a start today thing on online because I just hate being online. Anytime I don't have to be online on one of these EA games, I take it because it just sucks. So I didn't do the start today thing. But CJ Stroud is a star dev. He's an 81 overall, and he's obviously going to be our quarterback. And I'm hoping that he can take that next step once we get him a couple more pieces around him. I mean, making the playoffs in a divisional round appearance is pretty good for morale. I mean, as you can see, he's got +3. So hopefully we can build on that in the upcoming seasons. The running back room is weird because we do have Joe Mixon, which let me generate best lineup. So Joe Mixon is here. We've got Nick Chubb. We've got Woody Marks. We've got Jason Jordan? Jawar Jordan. I don't even know who that is. So the running back room is interesting, but Joe Mixon, I think, can get the job done in season 2. Nico Collins is a good wide receiver. He's probably a number 1. We just need to pair him with a couple extra guys. I do like Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins. I think those guys can really do something. Tank Dell, if he can ever stay healthy and not tear his ACL and destroy his entire knee, I think he could stay healthy. Or he could be good if he could just stay healthy. I think we need one more receiver to replace Christian Kirk. And then we see the development of these two guys, and hopefully that works out. Offensive line needs a big overhaul. That offensive line was disgustingly bad in the divisional round game. This needs some help. So we will have to work on that, whether it's through the draft or through free agency or whatever, trading. Dalton Schultz is a good number 1 tight end. I think we can work with that. And then on defense, we obviously know the marks. We know that we've got Will Anderson Jr. We know that we've got Derek Stingley. We know that we've got Bullock. And we know that we got Petrie. And we know that we got To'o and Speed and Alshire and Lassiter. And there's a lot of pieces on this defense. It's a really good defense. And that was my biggest concern headed into that divisional round game. And it lived up to fruition because Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. were giving Will Campbell nightmares, basically. Drake May was in trouble in that game. And so if the Texans offense was even a little bit competent, I think the Texans would have won that game pretty easily. But thankfully they weren't, and the Patriots got it done. So we are going to build on Will Anderson Jr., obviously. Danielle Hunter is old at this point. How old is he? He's 31. He's going to start to regress, but he's still useful right now. We'll definitely have to find somebody to eventually replace him, depending on how far this rebuild goes. I mean, maybe we win the Super Bowl next year. Probably not, but maybe. You never know. Stranger things have happened. So here we go, into the negotiation period. I believe there's not really much to bring back here. I would like to bring back Christian Harris, because at 25, I think he's a valuable piece to this team, even though he's a normal dev 74. And maybe that'll change once I draft and sign free agents and stuff, but I do believe that Christian Harris could be a role player on this team. Tommy Togiai is 26. He wants to come back. He is a little bit expensive, but I think Tommy Togiai being a piece on this defense is worth it. So he will come back. But other than that, I'm not really seeing a lot that I need to have back on this team. Not even really Tommy Townsend. Sheldon Rankins is too expensive to bring back. I completely forgot Derek Barnett was still even in the league until I saw him in that game. Harrison Bryant at tight end, no. Brevin Jordan, no. Damone Clark. EJ Speed is 31. I think there's better options at will linebacker than EJ Speed. Ed Ingram's only 27. I think I'll bring Ed Ingram back, mainly because there's not really a lot else that we have on offensive line. So he's one of the bright spots. So we'll bring Ed Ingram back. And then Christian Kirk, I could see as a trade candidate. He's still relatively young at 29. He's still going to have some value to some team, I would assume. So we throw him in there in the trade offers. We can get Jordan Hancock, Buckeye, Cam Robinson, Wanya Morris, Jalen Wright for some speed, but we have a lot of running backs right now. Braylon Allen, and then Jaron Reed. So the value is not necessarily where I was expecting it to be, but, to be fair, that's probably where it should have been. So if we look at receivers or teams who need a second receiver, because I don't think Christian Kirk is a number one on any team, but if we find somebody that has a need for a second receiver, can we possibly capitalize on Marvin Harrison having a down season and maybe get him? Okay, this could actually work. We could have Marvin Harrison and CJ Stroud on the same team again. We have 2 second-round picks, 2 fourth-round picks. We can make this work. If I give you a second-round pick in 2028, we're not going to be caring about draft picks back from that time, because hopefully we'll be playing for a Super Bowl by that point, or at least contending for a playoff spot. Okay, this can actually happen. I'm going to give away one of my fourth-round... I'm going to give a sixth-round pick next year. Oh, that's so close. If I toss another player, that'll go through. And we can bring in a guaranteed starter to this roster. And I'm going to give up Jawar Jordan because we don't need him. So Christian Kirk, a filler player, and then a second in 2 years, a fourth in 2 years, and a sixth next year gets us Marvin Harrison Jr. So we reunite CJ Stroud and Marvin Harrison Jr. We bring him a bona fide number one, although he's not having a number one type of career so far, but he maybe he'll turn around. Hopefully. And maybe we can steal something for Nick Chubb, possibly? Percy Butler is the only option right now. Who needs a veteran running back? Who needs a veteran running back on their roster? The Cardinals, we could just keep trading with them. They could use another running back like Nick Chubb. The Chiefs certainly could use Nick Chubb. I mean, they've got not really a whole lot. The Commanders could use a guy like Nick Chubb to pair alongside Ja'Cory and Chris Rodriguez. Maybe that's an option. There's got to be somebody. There's got to be somebody out here that needs Nick Chubb. The Saints could certainly use Nick Chubb for like a veteran presence when Alvin Kamara's gone. The Vikings don't have anybody other than David Montgomery because Aaron Jones retired, so maybe the Vikings just need another body if they re-sign him, if they choose to re-sign him. Maybe I can get a third-round pick for Nick Chubb. I can get a third-round pick for Nick Chubb. Okay, so the Vikings get Nick Chubb, we get a third-round pick. I think that's fine. Maybe I could have got a little bit more, but you know what, whatever. That's probably all we're going to do for negotiations. We're going to move into free agency. We are going to move into free agency. So now we have 2 second-round picks, 2 third-round picks, and 2 fourth-round picks for this draft. We can make some things happen. We can definitely make some things happen. We move to the free agency period, and the best player is Javonte Williams. Okay. Whatever. Not really the free agency class I was hoping for, but whatever. Malik Willis. I have a feeling Malik Willis could get a pretty decent-sized contract in real life for the way that he played in relief of Jordan Love when Jordan Love got hurt. I think he could have a pretty decent bag. I don't know if he's as good as he played in those backup roles, but I think he could do pretty decent. Running back, we have our guy in Joe Mixon, so we don't need a starter. But I could definitely see picking up a backup. What other... Let me take a look at the team. Now that we've gotten rid of... Oops, I don't want to do that. Now that we've gotten rid of all the guys from negotiations, what's the team look like? So we have Woody Marks, we have Joe Mixon. So we don't necessarily need a backup. We're pretty good there. We have CJ Stroud, obviously. Let me generate best line to get Marvin Harrison up there. There we go. So we have Tank Dell. So the wide receiver room now is pretty much done unless I want to add Jeremiah Smith in a couple years, which I always do. Offensive line needs a lot of help. That's probably our biggest focus. And then we need to find somebody to replace EJ Speed. We need some interior defensive linemen. And maybe one more corner. 2 more corners because Petre's playing both corner and safety right now. So we need to find somebody. So there's a little bit of help. So we need to find something. So let's go to offensive line first because that's like our first big need. Rasheed Walker is a star dev, 81 overall, 26-year-old. That's actually very promising. Jedrick Wills is also here, but he's a lot less of an overall, and he's older. A little bit older. Tevin Jenkins, okay. Not really any centers I want to pull the trigger on. Right guards. Ricky Stromberg, not really feeling it. Right tackle, no. Okay, so it's just the left side of the line is really what I'm kind of interested in. I think I might want to throw a little bit of money, a little bit of cash at Rasheed Walker here. I know that we'd have to battle with a couple other guys, and we do have a rookie in Irsay, or at least is he a rookie or a 2-year guy now? Whatever he is, he's young. So if we throw a little bit of money at Walker, we might be able to move Irsay to right tackle, and then we're good there. And we are the #1 offer on Rasheed Walker. Maybe I paid a little bit too much for him, but you know what? Sometimes you got to pay offensive linemen. I don't think I'm going to go after Tevin Jenkins, though. Even though guard is probably something we could use. On the edge, we don't really need. We have Danielle Hunter and Anderson Jr. right now, but interior we could use. I'm not really looking to pay anybody that much. And I don't really see anything worth paying. At least not right now. I mean, Jawan Briggs has got 6 offers. I'm not really interested in going in a battle for him. And the rest of these guys I don't really want. So we move to right edge. We don't need linebacker. I can't help. I'm a huge gay guy, and I like Cox. And Orgy's great too. I don't know where to go with this. You guys know how I feel about Willie Gay. I like Jabril Cox. I even like Cochran. So I don't know where to go with this. There's a couple options here. I could certainly see me paying somebody. I feel like I always pay Willie Gay. I like Willie Gay. He's a great player. Do I go for Malcolm Rodriguez? He's got 12 offers. Maybe we go for Anthony Orgy. 87 speed, 93 excel is really solid. And he's got star dev. I could certainly see Orgy down in Houston. That is for sure. So, Anthony Orgy, let's try to offer him a contract. Where does that put us in the rankings for him? That puts us at the top, so everybody's lowballing him. Ooh, Nakobe Dean at 25 is very interesting. Very, very interesting. And then at will linebacker, Micah McFadden, Alex Anzalone, Shaq Thompson. Shaq Thompson used to be good. There's a couple guys that are better than what we have right now, but I don't think there's anybody worth paying. We can probably just draft somebody that might be end up being better. And then at corner, I probably do need to come away with at least one corner here. And maybe it's Martin Emerson, actually. I have always liked Martin Emerson. I think he's a good, at least Madden player. I don't know if he's a good real-life player, but he's definitely a pretty solid Madden player. So if we offer Martin Emerson a contract, that will be another good corner to add to the team. And then safety we're pretty good on. I think that's going to be all of my cash spent around. We're going to be going with just those guys. So Rasheed Walker, Martin Emerson, and Anthony Orgy. Hopefully all those guys are on our team. And they all sign. So that's pretty decent. That's a pretty decent free agency. It's nothing too crazy, nothing too flashy. It's not like the best players in free agency or anything. But it's a pretty solid group of guys. I'm okay with that. And then we move to the defense and we see Emerson join in and we see Orgy join in. Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. I think we're going to skip through the rest of free agency because we don't really need to spend any more money. I'd like to keep that for when we have to pay C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson Jr. Because paying C.J. right now, we're not paying him anything. So we gotta be in our winning window while we can. Let's move to the draft. We have pick number 27, I'm pretty sure. So we're not going to be able to get anybody too great. But this draft is pretty solid. So at the top of the class, you've got Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore. Now, this draft I loaded in before Dante Moore, he declared to go back to Oregon. So it's a little bit out of date. I'll have to try to find an updated one once we get a little bit further in. Once everybody officially declares who's leaving, who's not. So Dante Moore is still in this class. But there's not like a top 5 talent in this class at quarterback. And maybe that's how it is in real life. Maybe Fernando Mendoza isn't a top 5 quarterback. Maybe Lenore Sellers isn't, or Carson Beck isn't. Whoever ends up being in this class, maybe they're not. And I do see Chambliss in here. It's going to be interesting to see what he does because he did not get his waiver to come back again. They denied it. So we'll see if he just goes to the draft or what he probably has to, right, at this point? I don't know. At running back, we don't really need, but Jeremiah Love is a great player. Hollywood Smothers is a great name, by the way. Justice Hayden's a good running back. Jonah Coleman's a good running back. There's a couple good ones in this class, but we have Joe Mixon right now, so we're pretty good there. Wide receiver, if we do take one, it's not going to be one of these top guys, unfortunately. I do like all these guys at the top. I think they're all great players, especially Carnell Tate, but if we do take a wide receiver, it would be probably down here. Maybe I take my guy, Nick Harbor, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. Maybe that's where we go. At tight end, I could see a backup tight end for Dalton Schultz. Maybe a Max Clare type or a Kenyon Sadiq type. Or Oscar Delp. Somebody like that. Left tackle, Caden Proctor would definitely be a great player to have on this roster. But he's really the only one. I mean, maybe Isaiah World. I don't know much about Isaiah World. Caden Green's good. This guy's good. Fernando Carmona's good. We definitely need to come away with a guard. That's for sure. And probably a center. Maybe we can get Parker Brailsford or Jake Slaughter. I don't think we're going to be able to get Lalulu. Lalulu? And then right guard. We need to come away with basically an entire offensive line, except for probably left tackle now. So Spencer Fano or Francis Mauagoa could certainly be on my list of guys to grab. And then edge rusher, we do need to think about eventually replacing Danielle Hunter, so some of these guys could be on my radar. Whether it's Arvell Reese, he's probably not going to be on my radar because he's going to be gone, but whether it's somebody from the right edge or the left edge, we need to think of a future for the edge position. And then a D tackle, I probably need to come away with a D tackle. I don't know who it is, but somebody needs to be drafted here by me. because all we have right now is Tommy Togiai and nothing else. So we need to think about that. Linebacker, we do need to bring at least a linebacker in. I don't know who the linebacker is going to be, but somebody needs to come to this team. Corner, I could use another corner. And then safety, we're pretty good on. We have two decent safeties. So I think we're fine there. Who am I going to use my focus players on, though? Or my workouts on? Maybe a couple of corners. Mansour Delane, I've heard good things about. I really want to take a look at the mock draft and see where these guys are projected, but maybe we scout like a CJ Allen type. We scout a Mansour Delane and maybe a Harold Perkins, possibly. Or maybe we go D tackle and we try to grab a Tim Keenan or a Caleb Banks. We know a little bit more about Aaron Graves. He looks pretty decent, so maybe he's a guy, but let's learn a little bit more about Caleb Banks. And those are going to be my 3 private workouts. We need to hit on some of these draft picks, that's for sure. Let's go to the draft, but just to check the mock draft right now, let's take a look at mock draft number 5 and see where everybody's projected to go. So number 1 pick is the Browns with Fernando Mendoza. Like I said, it's not accurate to the other team's schedules, so the Raiders are not picking number 1 overall, but the Browns are, and they've got Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore 2, Arvell Reese 3, Ruben Bain, Caleb Downs, Peter Woods, there's Spencer Fano, there's Mansour Delane. So if we want one of these top guys, we're going to have to trade up. Cardinal Tate, Jeremiah Love, Caden Proctor, Isaiah World. Oh, man, picking down at 27. They have us taking the left guard, which I don't necessarily hate. We do need a left guard. That's one of our biggest needs. And I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's a good player. I know he's a decent player. I think that could be a decent move for us. I wouldn't hate that. I don't think. Maybe in the first round it's a little bit too much of a reach, because he is projected to go round 2 to 3. So maybe we get it. We have 2 second-round picks. Maybe we'll see what's available in the first round, or maybe we try to trade up to get a guy like Isaiah World. Is he worth trading up for? I guess I should have scouted him, and then I would have been able to figure that out. But I don't know if taking a guy that's projected to go round 2 to 3 is the move, even though he's projected to go to us. He might only be projected in the first round because he's projected to us. If he wasn't projected to us, I don't know if he'd be going in the first round or not. But here we are, first overall pick. Who's going? Is it Fernando? It is. So it's the Heisman Trophy winner going at number 1 overall, then Dante Moore. So it's pretty much going to go exactly how the mock draft said, which is not a surprise. That's usually how it goes. Ruben Bain goes to the Commanders. That'd be a big pickup for the Commanders. Caleb Downs goes to Philadelphia. I would hate that if that happened. Peter Woods. Then Spencer Fanu. I kind of want to get one of those top guys. Like, I wanted to get either Spencer or Francis Mauigoa, but we're just not really in that position right now. Maybe I should trade up to get him. What would the Titans want for that pick? For number 8. What do the Titans want for number 8? Tennessee at 8. What do they want for it? They want a first, 2 seconds, a third, or they just straight up want Danielle Hunter. I can't really give you Danielle Hunter. I can't really give you anybody that's at the top of my team, unfortunately. I got to play this a little bit stingy. I may be able to give you Tank Dell. We just brought in Marvin Harrison. We have a stockpile of wide receivers. I would kind of hate giving up Tank Dell, but if it's for an offensive lineman, that might be decent. Although it's going to take a lot to get this pick. I'd probably have to trade 27. I'd love to be able to keep 27, but I don't think that's going to happen. Oh, this is going to be difficult. This is going to be difficult. We had 2 second-round picks. I'd like to keep those 2 second-round picks. Next year's third. How about that? How about that? That gets pretty close, but not close enough. Do I just completely blow up the 2028 draft? Hopefully we're really good by then. I think I might. Tank Dell and 2 first-round picks gets us number 8. And we're going to take Francis Mauigoa to solidify our tackle position. We have Rasheed Walker. Now we have Mauigoa. We did reach a little bit for him. He's projected number 24, and we got him at 8. But he is going to be a big-time piece at right tackle. And now we go to the next round where we probably grab ourselves a guard if he's still available. There's still some decent players on this board. I mean, you got Keldrick Falk, who's a pretty good player. You got Brazel. You've got Mateo Uyunglele. There's some good players on this board. And maybe I have 2 second-round picks. Maybe this is where I grab the replacement edge rusher. Unfortunately, the guy that I was looking at did get taken. The guy that was projected to go to us, from Iona, whatever his name is. But Parker Brailsfield is still there, and so is Jake Slaughter. So center is not gone. Center is still a possibility for us. But I'm thinking all the tight ends are still available. That's not a priority right now. I'm thinking we need to get our replacement for Daniel Hunter right away. So we got to take one of these guys. Either Mateo, Overton, or, I mean, Dennis Sutton's down here. Dennis Sutton, whatever his name is. He's down here as well, but I think one of these guys is going to be better. I'm kind of leaning towards Keldrick Falk. We don't know much about any of them. Just based on my own knowledge of real life, I think Keldrick Falk's probably going to be better. So let's take Keldrick Falk with one of our 2 second-round picks. He ends up being number 47 in true value, hidden dev. That's a nice replacement for Danielle Hunter, whenever that has to happen. And then we go to the next second-round pick. And what are we looking at for offensive line? Tiernan's still available. Pregnan's still here. Parker Brailsford got taken, but Slaughter's still there. I think we got to grab at least Jake Slaughter. Let's grab him in the second round. I know he was around 3 to 4, but I don't want to miss on my option, my offensive lineman here. So Jake Slaughter's a hidden dev. We move to the third round where we have 2 third-round picks again, back-to-back, actually. Carson Beck is still here. At running back, we don't need. Wide receiver, there's Nick Harbor. We did just trade Tank Dell, but I think we're fine. Especially if we're going to maybe try to get Jeremiah Smith next year. Probably not, but I always liked to get Jeremiah Smith. The tight end position's not really there anymore now that we lost all those guys at the top, like Kenny Sadiq and all them. Do I go with a guy like Emmanuel Pregnon? I don't really know much about him. But he probably is not a bad pick. I'm going to take him. We need a guard, so I'm going to take him. Ooh, he's not great. But hopefully he's better than I almost skipped. Than what we have right now. So let's move to the defensive side of the ball and maybe look at corner, because I think that's the last thing that we absolutely need. Or maybe linebacker. Davison Igbinosun, I am a fan of. I might just grab him. We need another corner. Yeah, I'm going to take Davison. All right. Welcome aboard, Davison. He got no dev trade, but he's very well-rounded, very skilled athletically. We move to the next round. There goes Carson Beck to the Cardinals. That's kind of funny. Okay. What else do we need? Did we already take a D-tackle? I don't remember. Did we take a D-tackle already? If I didn't, I might take Lee Hunter because he looks like he could be pretty solid, although his block shed's pretty bad. Maybe Caleb Banks is that guy. We already know he's a day 3 talent. I might just take Caleb Banks. I don't remember if I took a D-tackle or not, so I'll take one now just to be sure. And he's got a depth trade. Maybe Caleb Banks is going to be a good player for me. It's a nice little sneaky pick. And then we get all the way to the 27th pick of the 4th round, and this will probably be the last pick that I make. And Nick Harbor is still here. So you know what? Nick Harbor, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner at South Carolina Dynasty. I think I'm going to grab you. 51 true value. He's got a depth trait. Oh my God, he's got 97 speed or 99 speed. Nick Harbor is a cheat code. Absolutely. All right, that's going to be the end of my draft. I think we did fairly well. Now, we did reach a little bit for Jake Slaughter. We took him in the second round when he's a projected 3 to 4, but he should still be a viable piece to the team. The only real miss that we had was taking Pregnon. I think that was really the only miss. So we end up trading up to get Malagoa. He's a 76 overall. Keldrick Folk is a 74, but he doesn't need to start right away because we still have Daniil Hunter. And then Jake Slaughter's a 71. Pregnon's a 67. Igbenoson's a 71. Caleb Banks is a 70. Nick Harbor's a 73. And then they took a couple of bums in round 7. I think that's a pretty solid draft. So after all of the drafting has been done, the best player is Caleb Downs at 82, then Arvell Reese, as it should be. 2 Buckeyes at the top. That's how it should be. Ruben Bain, then Jermod McCoy, Jordan Tyson, Peter Woods. We saw that, what's his face? Stupid Indiana quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. Couldn't think of his name for a second. He's a 73, and then Dante Moore is a 72. So a bunch of bums in this draft. Let's move on to the next season. So our first official season of the rebuild since we started in the offseason. Let's get this team ready to go. Lenore Sellers is a Steeler. All right. Let's do generate best lineup, get all the rookies in there. So we're just going to start Pregnon at left guard because that's obvious what we would do. We also need to probably start, we need to start everybody really, right? We need to start our Jake Slaughter, our center, and we need to start probably Malagoa instead of Titus Howard. I might need to trade these guys away to see if I can get anything. Tonka Hemingway's cool. There's not really much I can grab. I mean, Vernon Broughton's decent, but he's a bum at this point. Maybe I can get a couple draft picks back from somebody. Who needs a right tackle? Who needs a right tackle? Ooh, hello. The Browns desperately need a right tackle. Okay, so Titus Howard can play for you. But I'm not going to be able to get picks this year. How about I get like a 3rd and a 4th back from 2028? No, the Browns don't have any cap space. Good God, Cleveland. Can you do anything right? The Cardinals have cap space, and they need a right tackle as well. I just seem to always end up trading with the Cardinals. What about 3 and a 4 for Titus Howard? Perfect. We will accumulate some draft capital back from 2028, and then we will probably have to trade Jake Andrews. Is that what his name is? Yeah, Jake Andrews, to be able to acquire or to have Jake Slaughter start, and we can get Mekhi Wingo. You know what? Let me just get Mekhi Wingo up in here. That allows for Slaughter to start and for Francis Malagoa, and we can probably just get rid of Juice Scruggs. I can probably just cut him, although maybe he can get us something. He can get us Rasheen Ali. Yeah, you know what? Sure, why not? We don't really need Rasheen Ali, but it's a 5th round pick too. And that allows for all of our guys to start. So that should be good. Oh, Jake Slaughter's now back behind Jarrett Patterson. So I'm probably just gonna cut Jarrett Patterson. There's not really any reason to bring him or trade him, and then we'll just sign a center that's lower than 71 overall. Let's just go to this place. Sign a center who is bad. Let's sign... Is there any rookies? There's a couple of rookies. Not very good rookies, though. Just give me Nick Gates. I don't need anybody special. I just need somebody that's a lower overall than Jake Slaughter. So Nick Gates comes in. He's now the backup center. I saw Will Clapp down there. I guess I should have got him. And it looks like they want to start Irsay over Francis Malagoa, which does not seem right. So we'll start Malagoa over him. And then on defense, how are we looking? Defense is still a little bit weird after the offseason, but Mwingo comes in and is number 2 D tackle, which I don't necessarily want. I didn't want to click on you, you bum. Let's go back to defense, and let's move Caleb Banks up to number 2 D tackle just so we can get some play time. Everybody's looking good here. Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, okay. Let's start simulating because we've got a very interesting season. A first official season of the rebuild. We need to see some development from CJ Stroud if he wants to be our starting quarterback for this Super Bowl run that we're hopefully going to go on. I'm going to simulate the year. I'll do the preseason stuff, the training camps, all that kind of stuff. And then throughout the season, I'll do like the scouting and all that stuff like I always do. And then we will get to the playoffs and see if this Texans team can make another playoff run and hopefully this time actually win a divisional game. Because I found out while watching that Patriot game in the divisional round over the weekend, I found out that the Houston Texans as a franchise have never won a divisional round playoff game. I could have swore that during the Deshaun Watson era, they had made an AFC championship, but I guess I was wrong. Because they have never won. They're like 0 for 9 now, or 0 for 8, whatever it is, in divisional round playoff games in their franchise's history. So I'd like to win one and maybe turn the tide for this Texans franchise. So let's simulate this first year, first official year of the Texans rebuild and see where they are. All right, so year 2 is done, and we have the exact opposite record that we did last year. We are 5-12. A little bit of a letdown this year, and I feel like it comes down to playbooks, which I hate that it comes down to that, but I feel like this Texans team, even though I haven't done too much with it, I feel like it should have simmed better than 5 wins. So maybe it's the playbooks. We'll probably have to change them, unfortunately, even though I have seen the Texans simulate fairly well in different videos. I don't know. The 5 wins is not a good mark. Now, it is a good mark because Jeremiah Smith is in this draft class, and that's a good sign that we're pretty bad, but you never know. I don't know. CJ puts up good numbers. I mean, 3,600 yards, 24 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I wish the touchdown number was a little bit higher, but other than that, it's a fairly solid season. Nothing, like, worrisome about it. 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns for Joe Mixon. That's a pretty good season from him. Jaden Higgins gets over 1,000 yards, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Nico Collins has 917 and 5. Marvin Harrison has 725 and 2. All right. Very solid. And then tackle-wise, we have 157 from To'o. Alshire has 134. Petrie, 119. A lot of tackles from this Texans defense. I'm probably going to keep it in the Texans defense, but the offense needs a change. Texans offense just doesn't simulate very well, I guess. Anderson Jr. puts up 15 tackles for loss, 14 for Daniel Hunter, so he's still got a little bit of burn. Sack leader is obviously Will Anderson Jr. with 14.5. Hunter had 5. Alshire had 4, 3.5 for Togiai. The rookie Caleb Banks had 2. That's a good sign. And then interceptions, Petrie with 4. Stingley with 3, 2 for To'o, and then 1 for Christian Harris. All right. Not a great season, especially because we won 5 games, but with the offseason ahead of us, more development for our young guys, and a possible playbook change in offense, I think year 3 in the franchise, but year 2 in the sim or in the rebuild, I think could be much better for us. It's going to be a Ravens-Eagles Super Bowl. How unique from EA Sports. And it is 24-21. Baltimore gets the win. The Ravens have a Super Bowl championship. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, all those guys. Unfortunately, not Rasheen Ali because we took him from the Ravens. Matthew Stafford goes back-to-back on the MVPs. Then Wan'Dale Robinson and TJ Watt are the players of the year. And Fernando Mendoza and Peter Woods are the rookies of the year. So good job for Fernando getting rookie of the year on the Browns. And Nnamdi Madubuike wins the Super Bowl MVP for the Baltimore Ravens. And we will move to our second offseason of the video. Gotta figure out something. I think we just stay pat. We have a lot of money. That must mean CJ's up for a contract. No, it's not him yet. Neither is Will Anderson Jr. So Marvin Harrison Jr., we're going to accept his option. Pick that up. Joe Mixon needs a contract, but he is not very expensive. Neither is To'o. We're kind of getting lucky here. A lot of these guys are Joe Mixon's a fairly high overall, but he's 31. He's not super expensive. So we're going to get out of here paying a very good running back not that much money, which is kind of like the exact situation you want to be in. And that is a huge re-sign. He'll have enough burn to be able to get through to the Super Bowl, obviously. And then To'o, definitely want to bring him back. Unfortunately, he does not want to come back because apparently we don't have a franchise QB. I guess CJ doesn't have that tag, which is a little bit sucky. But hopefully a little bit of extra money will get him to re-sign, and he does. Thank you, Henry. Aziz, he is 30, but he's right now the best option we have at Mike linebacker, so we're going to pay him, and maybe we replace him throughout the offseason, but right now we're going to pay him. And I apologize for the background being completely black. I can't control that. It's just a bad video game. Let's re-sign Dalton Schultz because we don't have anybody other than him. I mean, we have Cade Stover, but is Cade Stover really the guy? Probably not. And that's coming from a Buckeye. So we bring back Cade Stover. Xavier Hutchinson, we don't necessarily need. We don't need long neck Davis Mills, Kemi Fairbairn, British Brooks. Nah, there's not really anybody else here that we need. So we can go into free agency with about 49 million. Tyreek Hill says he's not coming back. I don't know if that means he's going to be in free agency or if he's going to be gone the next year. Who knows? Let's just go sign some free agents though. Zay Flowers, Tucker Kraft, Tyreek Hill, Michael Pittman. There's a lot of wide receivers. Now, we are in the market for Jeremiah Smith, not necessarily paying one of these guys. But a Marlon Humphrey is not the worst idea I've ever heard in my entire life. I could definitely get down with a 2-year contract for Marlon Humphrey. That way, somebody's able to play safety, whether it's Jalen Petrie or whether it's somebody else. I could definitely see a world where Marlon Humphrey plays for us. Quarterback, we're sticking with our guy CJ. Running back, we've got Joe Mixon, so we don't need to bring anybody else in. Wide receiver, we don't need. Tight end, we could need, but there's not really. I mean, Tucker Kraft, he's cool, but I'm not paying a tight end so much money that I have to outbid 11 other teams. I can't get my head around that. So, unfortunately, we're not going to be doing that. But I wouldn't mind paying Darnell Washington, I guess. Darnell probably wouldn't be that bad to pay. He's a massive human being. Just a simply massive mang. On the offensive line, Wanya Morris, Samuel Mays, I'm not really feeling the vibes. Anton Harrison, not even. Offensive line, I think we're fine with even if we draft. Lucas Van Ness is here. Baron Browning's 28. A lot of edge rushers that want to be here. A lot of edge rushers that want to be here. Defensive tackle. Why can't the good defense tackles want to be here? Derek Hall. I do like Derek Hall, but I don't think we're going to grab him. Seeing Keon White in a 49er uniform looks weird. Did they just... Why does that look like they just photoshopped a 49er jersey over his Patriot jersey? Like they didn't take a... He didn't take another picture? Hold on, I know I'm getting super close to the screen, but I need to see this. It looks like... Because why would he wear a blue undershirt when he's wearing a red 49er uniform for his picture? I guess not everybody knows style, but you don't wear a blue undershirt when you're wearing it. You don't wear two primary colors underneath each other. That looks like they just, although if it is, no, I guess it could be an undershirt because if it is a Photoshop, it's a very good Photoshop because it doesn't necessarily look like they just put the red jersey over it. But I don't know, it's weird that they would have he would wear a blue jersey underneath his red jersey, or a blue undershirt underneath his red jersey. Usually you either wear nothing like Peyton Turner, or you wear, oh, maybe he's not wearing nothing. Maybe he's got like a tank top or something on. Or you just wear like that, like the white undershirt for the Chiefs. I don't know. It's just weird. It's completely off topic. It was concerning to me. I needed to know what was going on there. 24-year-old 73 overall player is not really, especially with normal dev, is not really what I'm looking for. Drew Sanders... He's 25. That's not bad. Does he have anybody going after him? He's got 3 guys going after him. I wouldn't think that he'd be the worst option. DeMarvion Overshown's probably where we need to go, isn't it? Yeah, we need to pay a little bit of money for DeMarvion. It's going to take most of our money that we have left over, but I think this is the right move. Paying DeMarvion, he's better than Christian Harris. That's going to be the right move. And then at corner, we're already paying Marlon Humphrey. So I think that's good there. Safety is not really anything. We can just move Petrie back to safety if we have to, because I did see that he was actually registered as a corner, or listed as a corner. But if we move him back to safety, that should be fine. And then we're able to get Humphrey and DeMarvion. What about Darnell? Stop being stingy. Okay, we got all 3 of the guys that we were looking for. That's 2 years in a row now we've gotten everybody that we wanted. Where's Tucker Kraft at? He signed with the Giants. Wow, the Giants, Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterby, Malik Neighbors now get Tucker Kraft. Interesting. I didn't even take a look at depth traits, I realized. So, offense line's coming together. It's a slow burn, but it's coming together. We're fine here. We add Darnell Washington. On defense, Overshown now starts there. Yeah, we need to basically... Oh, Petrie went up to superstar, by the way. We need to switch Petrie back to safety. And I don't think he was ever a strong safety, but he's going to be a strong safety now. So, congratulations. I think he was a free safety before they switched him to corner, but he's going to go to strong safety. I guess we can move Bullock to strong safety if we had to. Like, if his overall is just so bad. Oh, my God, what is that background? He's an 89. That's perfectly fine. He can play strong safety for me. And then linebacker looks a little bit better. Now, we do need to probably replace Al Shire because he's getting a little bit older. But right now, it's doing fine. Caleb Banks is developing. What's his face retired? Daniil Hunter. Okay, so it's a good thing we drafted Keldrick Folk because we already have his replacement right there. That's huge. That is huge. I didn't realize he retired. I guess I could take a look at it right now. View the retirements. Yeah, there he is. Daniil Hunter retires after 12 seasons. That's a big retirement. Good thing we already were prepared for it, but I think the team's looking good. I think that playbook change is definitely going to be needed. We'll probably switch to Buffalo because I've had really good success with the Buffalo playbook in Madden 26. So I'm assuming once we switch to that combination of Buffalo offense and Texans defense is going to really, really do wonders for this team. But we'll do that once we get to Season 3. Let's see what we're working with here. So Ty Simpson, and yes, Ty Simpson's in this draft class because the other one's a little outdated. We'll figure it out once we get deeper or closer to the actual draft. Once the draft class is already solidified. But we got Dylan Raiola, which he's coming back to college. He went to Oregon to back up Dante Moore. Well, he didn't want to back up Dante Moore. Dante Moore just came back. So before I look at this, let me take a look at what the roster needs before I start scouting people. So what is it that we absolutely need? We could replace Pregnon. I know that Pregnon was a draft pick and he could develop, but developing an offensive line, especially in a rebuild, is a lot more difficult. If I was doing this week by week, like the Browns franchise, that'd be a little bit more of a project that I could work on. But in a rebuild, we kind of just want to go bang, 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 bang. And Pregnon's not really fitting that mindset. So I could certainly see a world where we replace him, even after a season. Wide receivers are fine. Even Nick Harbor went up to star dev. That's kind of sick. We've got Joe Mixon. CJ's going to be our guy. Offense is a little weird, but I think it's going to work out. And then we could use an extra D tackle. We definitely need to scout some linebackers. So really just offensive line, D tackle, and linebacker is what we're in most need of. So let's go look at that. And obviously Jeremiah Smith. But let's go look at that kind of stuff. So offensive line, you've got Chase Bisontis. Chase Bisontis? We might as well scout him to figure out how good he actually is. South Carolina Gamecock legend, Shamarad Umarov. What about Billy Schrouth? Maybe we scout him. Let's see what else is on the table. We might come back to get him. I think we're going to stick with Jake Slaughter. I think that's going to be fine. I did scout Anthony Knapp during the first week of scouting, like week 13 or whatever it is. So we did have that. No other right tackles that I really want. What about D tackles? We've got Murad Watson, Jaden Jackson, Amari Washington, David Stone. We know a good amount about these two guys, so maybe we toss in a little Amari Washington action, get him a little bit further. And then need a linebacker. I did scout Josiah Trotter. He's actually a round 1 to 2 guy. That could be a solid replacement for what's his face? For Al Shire. But also, I wouldn't hate a possible Chris Cole. He looks like he's got decent skills. Let's try to figure out how good Chris Cole actually is. Because that could be a nice second-round pick. And then we'll move to the draft. We'll take a look at our mock draft, because I'm very curious to see what our pick is. With winning 5 games, I would assume it's going to be fairly decent. So mock draft number 5. We currently have Ty Simpson's going to go number 1, then Dylan Stewart, South Carolina legend. Jeremiah's number 3. We're at number 5. There's a world where we can take Jeremiah Smith. Now, do I want to take Jeremiah Smith? I've talked about this in the past. There's gonna be a rebuild at some point this year before the draft where we focus on Jeremiah Smith. And then obviously when Madden 27 comes out and he's the next upcoming draft, then we're gonna be focusing a lot on Jeremiah Smith. If you couldn't tell, I'm a big Jeremiah Smith guy. So we're gonna be doing a lot with Jeremiah Smith in the upcoming year. So maybe we hold off on getting him for this because he doesn't really fit in this. We have Nico Collins, we have Marvin Harrison, we have a good young core with Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel or Noel, whatever his name is. So hold on, I got something in my eye. So I don't think, even as bad as I want Jeremiah Smith, I always want Jeremiah Smith, I don't think he fits this rebuild. So we'll probably not take him. But they have us taking Colin Simmons, also South Carolina legend, Colin Simmons. But taking another edge rusher is not really what I'm most interested in doing. There's Ryan Williams. I mean, we don't need another edge rusher. We took Keldrick Falk last year. We had Will Anderson Jr. We kind of already have it. So maybe we trade down? Do we trade down from 5 and accumulate a couple extra picks this year? That might be what we need to do. Because even as good as Colin Simmons is, I'd rather develop Keldrick Falk. He's already got a year of development under his belt. I'd rather just stick with that. So let's start drafting here. The Cardinals will stick in at number 1 and take Ty Simpson. So they got their guy. Dylan Stewart ends up going number 2. Was that what he projected? I think that's what he was projected. And then Jeremiah Smith at 3. The Jets at 4 take Julian Sayin. Poor Julian. And now us at 5. I think trading down is the move. So we could trade down with the Browns and get pick 13. But I'd rather, if I'm going to trade down, I want more than just the first round pick that we trade down for. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get that. If I get it, I'm going to have to make my own, I think. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to have to make my own pick or my own trade offer. Okay, so let's go to the trade screen, if I can find it. Let's go to the trade screen and possibly trade down from 5. How far do I want to trade down? That's a good question. Thank you for asking. I probably want to trade down to maybe the low teens. Maybe like a 13 or a 14 would probably be the best option. So maybe that Charger pick at 14 is where we need to go. And maybe I can ask for a second, a 4, and a second next year. Okay, they're being a little bit annoyed by that. I feel like that's a reasonable thing to ask for trading from number 5. I mean, 2029, the video is going to be over by then, I would assume, so we don't need any of these picks. So let me just dump off a bunch of 2029 picks, I guess. Are you really not going to give me what I want? Am I going to have to trade another first-round pick? There's no way. There's no way I can trade another first-round pick. If I'm going to trade another first-round pick, I'm going to get more value than just what I'm asking for. If I trade my 2029 first-round pick, and then my 2029 second-round pick, and then my 2029 third-round pick, and then my 2029 fourth-round pick. I'm just giving the entire 2029 fourth-round pick, or the 2029 class. So there we go. We give a first-round pick this year. We trade down from 5 to get 14, but we also pick up a second and a third this year from the Chargers, plus a first-round pick next year. We give up our entire 2029 class, but hopefully the video is over by then. Doesn't really matter. Colin Simmons does go to the Chargers. Dylan Raiola goes to the Jaguars. Very interesting. Maybe they're moving on from Trevor Lawrence. Murad Watson goes to the Seahawks. Jaden Jackson goes to the 49ers. So it's going basically how we thought it would go. There's Jordan Seaton. Ryan Williams goes to Pittsburgh. So Lenore Sellers has got an option now, other than DK Metcalf. Leonard Moore goes to the Jets. Elias Robinson goes to the Chiefs. And the Browns take Wilkin Formby? I'm not sure what that name says. And now we're up. Okay, so we got Cam Coleman, who I like Cam Coleman, but like I said, we're not really in need of a offensive line or a wide receiver, like we already said. Archer Manning is a day 3 true talent, hilarious. Anthony Knapp, I think I could go for. Didn't I take him in a recent rebuild? I feel like I did. Like when recent rebuild that I used real life draft classes for. I feel like I've taken him before, but I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to take him again because he looks like a great player. And he's number 18 in true value. He's got hidden dev. He probably either replaces Pregnon or he replaces Ed Ingram. Either one is probably how it's going to go. And then we'll send to our next pick, which is number 5 of the second round. And we'll see what is available. What is available? We need defensive tackle. We need linebacker. What's the linebacker room looking like? Jeremiah Trotter's still here. We might be able to get him with our second round pick. And then defensive tackle is another option. Some decent edge rusher, but we're not in need for an edge rusher. We need defensive tackle. We have a couple of good ones, especially with the dude that we took last year in the draft from was it Georgia? Gabriel Brownlow Dindy is the name I was trying to say. Is a South Carolina legend from South Carolina Dynasty, but he doesn't look like he's that good in this draft class. James Smith, on the other hand, could be a decent pick. We're going to take him. And he ends up being number 102. He's got a dev trait, which is decent, but that is not the range I was looking for when drafting a defensive tackle. And now we will have our second round pick thanks to the Chargers. Archman actually got taken by the Colts there. So maybe he's their future. And I think this is going to be the pick where I take Josiah Trotter. I know that he's a round 3 to 4, but I don't want to miss him. And he's a round 1 to 2 true talent. Number 50, we got him at 46, and he's probably the replacement for Al Shire. We'll go to the third round, pick number 5. We have 2 third-round picks as well. Corey Parrish got taken by the Saints. Another South Carolina. Everybody's a South Carolina legend. It's funny when you go to the draft and you realize how many guys in your college dynasty you've gotten through the portal because everybody's a South Carolina legend. Fluff Bothwell was a South Carolina legend. Was he not? Did I have Fluff in that series? Or did I have him? Oh, I might have had him in the Rutgers series. Did I have Fluff at South Carolina? I don't think I had Fluff at South Carolina. Maybe not. I had him at something, but I don't think I had him in South Carolina. Anyway, there is DJ Lagway. Do I go with Umarov here? We need another offensive lineman. I think I'm going to go Umarov here. He is a South Carolina legend. I remember that. And he's number 75 in true value. He's got hidden dev. So basically with our 2 guard picks, we've pretty much replaced Pregnon, which is not like a bad thing. It does kind of suck because technically we wasted the pick on him, but it's all going to work out in the end. We're going to win a Super Bowl, and it's all going to be fine and dandy. We're all going to be happy. We're all going to be clapping. And I might take Fluff just for the name alone. And because I've had him on this channel before. I just don't remember what series I took him, or I had him. I think it might have been Rutgers, actually. He's number 29 in true value. Normal dev, but he's a nice backup. Him and Woody Marks will be fine. And then we go to the 4th round. This is our only 4th round pick. What's the last thing that we're going to need? We've taken all of the stuff that we pretty much had to take. We filled all the positions of need. So now I guess we just take BPA, which could be Kenyatta Jackson. Maybe? Do we take a corner? No, we don't take a corner. Maybe we take a safety like Keon Sabb. I wouldn't mind taking Keon Sabb, but he wouldn't really play. That's kind of a wasted pick. Although technically all these guys would be wasted picks because none of them are going to play. So you know what? Let me just take Kenyatta. Got to take a Buckeye. When in doubt, take a Buckeye. Kenyatta Jackson, welcome aboard. He's not going to play. He's just a fun pick. So we will move on to the end of the draft. And I think these first 2 drafts that we've done are pretty good. Especially, I'm really excited about this playbook change because I think the playbook change is desperately needed. We drafted Knapp, who's a 77, James Smith a 71, Trotter a 73, Umarov's a 72, Bothwell's a 75, Kenyatta's a 68, and then they took a couple of bums, including Rocco Becht, who is a bum. And they're both under 70 overall. The best player in the class, I think you know, it is Jeremiah Smith. Then Leonard Moore, then Ryan Williams, then Nate Frazier, then Dylan Stewart. A lot of South Carolina legends in this draft class. And we will move on to the 3rd season. Well, technically it's the 2nd season, but it's the 3rd season of The Sim. Okay, a lot of trade offers. My God. Chill out, people. Let's adjust the lineup and see what this team looks like headed into year technically 2. So they keep wanting to stop starting this guy. I want Mamagoa. So we do replace Pregnon with Umarov, and Umarov's going to develop faster because he's got the dev trait. Knapp is going to start over Ingram. I probably should trade Ingram, shouldn't I? No, I'll start Knapp, and then he'll eventually just grow to be a higher overall. Offensive weapons are looking good. I'm fine with all that. And then on defense, we've got Trotter to replace Al Shire at some point. The tackle position's getting better. We've got Keldrick Falk. Our corner position's got Force Strong. We got Petrie. And okay, we're looking good. I'm going to go through and do all the training camp stuff again like I did last year. Do the simming, do the scouting, all that kind of stuff like I always do. And then get to the Oh, I got to change the playbook before I skip to the end. So not that. Let's go to this. Team schemes. Let's make sure we're running the right stuff. But first, let's change to Buffalo playbook. If I can find it. Where's Buffalo? We can just do John Madden playbook. I've never seen that before. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I might have to try that out. Let's see. What's our best scheme fit? Looks like it's going to be vertical power run. And then our best defensive scheme fit is a 92% 3-4 under or 4-3. Do I want to go 3-4 or 3-4 under? Let's go with. Do we want to go 4-3? Because obviously that's 4 defensive linemen and then 3 linebackers, which is kind of what we're using anyway. I think I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with the 92% scheme fit, 4-3, base 4-3, the vertical power run, the Buffalo offense, and obviously sticking with Texans defense. That should be a decent mix for a good season sim here in Madden. I'm hoping that's the case, but the only way to find out is to complete the sim and figure out if that's actually the case. So I'm going to see you at the end of the year at the playoffs. Hopefully, we're a part of them. Okay, so we finished the year, and we were the #1 seed in the playoffs, in the AFC at least. 13 wins. It's crazy how much playbooks matter. When they said playbooks aren't going to matter that much in Madden 26, they were completely wrong. Because if you just put the right combination, which happens to be Bills and Texans, together with the right players on the team, you're going to do pretty well in Sim. And it seems like that happened one time again. CJ Stroud even finished 3rd in passing yards this year, which is pretty crazy. So CJ officially puts up 4,400 yards, 39 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. This is an MVP caliber season. He's not going to win it because Joe Burrow and Michael Penix had better seasons, at least yards-wise. But this is an MVP caliber season from CJ Stroud. This is a great year. Rushing numbers, Joe Mixon still put up. I mean, even with the 4,400 yards that CJ Stroud put up, we still put up 1,400 yards of Joe Mixon. Our offense was moving. 17 touchdowns for him as well. Receiving, we had 2 guys over 1,000. That is 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns for Nico Collins, 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns for Marvin Harrison, 980 and 11 for Jaden Higgins. Then we had Dalton Schultz have 600 yards with 6 touchdowns. So the offense was cooking. And then defensively, Al Shire leads the team with 147 tackles, 138 for To'o, Petrie at 116, Laster at 114. Tackle for loss leader was Caleb Banks. Okay, Caleb, I see you out here, dog. 15 tackles for loss, that's sick. 13 for Anderson Jr., 13 for Togiai, and then Falk had 10. Sack leader was Will with 11.5, no surprise. Togiai had 9.5. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Tommy Togiai. Caleb Banks also had 6.5. This is a huge second year for Caleb Banks. 6.5 for Keldrick Falk, 5 for Aziz, and then interceptions. Laster had 5, 3 for Petrie and Bullock, and then 1 for Aziz and 1 for Derek Stingley. Huge season, both defensively and offensively. Just a great season all around. And now we take on the Steelers. Remember, the Houston Texans have never won a divisional round playoff game in their history. Let's see if that can happen right here. Can we finally break that curse and win one? Come on, boys. Come on, boys. Come on, boys. 31-13. The Houston Texans will play for an AFC championship for the first time in franchise history against the Buffalo Bills. Wow. Okay. The team that we took their playbook and we have made it better. It's 89s across the board for each team, which is kind of funny. The playoff bracket is us and the Bills and the Packers and the Giants. All right, seems like Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo are doing pretty well. Well, it's an AFC Championship, so we got to jump in. It's at home, thankfully, not going to Buffalo. And we should be able to win this, maybe, possibly, question mark? I don't know, let's find out. The first ever AFC Championship for the Houston Texans, and it's against the Buffalo Bills and that fraud, Josh Allen. We will see what happens. It's 10-10 into the second half. Now it's back and forth action. We're going to jump in here. Third quarter action, tied at 10. And I'm going to get a little bit of gameplay going. We got CJ Stroud. I haven't used CJ Stroud in Madden 26, I don't think so. Or maybe I did once, I don't remember. I know it's not very often that I use him. But we have Nico Collins. He's got a big first down. He jukes out 2 defenders and gets a couple extra yards. Get that man a map. He didn't know where he was going. Let's switch this to the other side and hand it off to Joe Mixon. He should be able to get the job done. And Joe Mixon will have a decent gain of 5 yards. That's the first carry of the day for him? That can't be true. We've only handed the ball off to Joe Mixon 1 time so far? That seems a little weird. Nobody is over the top of Marvin Harrison. What is happening here? Hold on. Oh, they always do that. They always adjust right as I'm about to get the hot routes. Whatever. I guess that's good defense from the Colts. Or from the Bills. Let's go with a 3rd and 4 underneath route. I'm going to go Marvin Harrison. He's wide open. Marv will hold on for the first down. Good job, Marv. You took a nasty shot. Good job holding on. And that is the end of the third quarter. We did a good job draining the rest of that clock. There was, what, like 2.5 minutes or something? 3 minutes when we jumped in? We did a good job taking that clock down. And now it's time to punch it in. I don't really care who does it, as long as somebody does do it. Handoff, Mixon, and he's in, wide open. Touchdown, Texans. That's a good start. Got to hold on for the defensive drive here, but we gave the ball back in really bad field position, and the Bills score. We held them, but I think we turned it over or something. Yeah, we have 1 turnover. I don't know if it was a fumble or a pick or something. But then the Bills got it back and had easy field position to score. And even though he might be a fraud, Josh Allen's going to take advantage of those. But that gives us great control here. We have the tie. We have the advantage. All we got to do is win with a field goal. Like, it doesn't really matter if it's a touchdown or if it's a field goal. As long as that when it hits triple zeros, we have more points than the Bills, we will go play for a Super Bowl. That's how math works. So let's go and do just that. Although running the ball here seems like a bad idea, I'm still going to do it anyway. And it will be not a great idea, but it works. Sometimes not great ideas are the best ideas because that gets us the first down. It allows us to keep the clock moving as we fire that to Nico Collins. I don't really like CJ's throwing motion in this game. It takes a while, it feels like. It's a very long throwing motion. I want my boom. I want the ball out quick. I'm going to fire that into Marv. He's going to catch it, take it, and run. Good job, Marv. And now the Bills are getting nervous. They're calling their timeouts, calling some Timmies. All right. We'll see if we can just move ever so close to the field goal marker. And there is a huge run from Joe Mixon. That is a back-breaking run for the Bills defense. Just keep it lined up. I mean, we could score, but just keep it lined up in the center of the field, and I will be able to drill this field goal regardless. There's the final timeout by the Buffalo Bills. They're in trouble because they're not really blocking. I think it almost feels like they're trying to let me score so that I can then get the ball back, but they've used all their timeouts. I'm not going to go in here. I couldn't even if I wanted to. But I'm going to let the clock drain, and we will win this football game on a field goal. We're going to have to snap it one more time, it looks like. I mean, we could win it on a touchdown, I guess, if Mixon wants to get in here. And he's going to get in. I almost tried to stop, but I got pushed in. So Joe Mixon will score at the buzzer, which means they got to get a touchdown to win it, and they can't do it. For the first time in franchise history, the Houston Texans will play in a Super Bowl. Oh my God, we have done it. Even if we don't win the Super Bowl in this video, we've technically rebuilt the Texans their whole franchise because we've gotten them farther than they've ever gotten before in their franchise's history. We won the divisional playoff game. We've won them an AFC title. And now we have a chance to win them a Super Bowl. We are doing what we needed to do, and we beat that fraud Josh Allen. Let's go see who our matchup is. Is it going to be the Giants, or is it going to be, what was it, the Packers, the other team? I think it was the Packers. Two pretty historic franchises. Let's see who is going to be matching up against the youngest team in NFL history, the Houston Texans, who just came in 2002. What do we got? We got Cam Scatterboo and the New York Giants. But first, before we jump into the Super Bowl game, let's take a look at the good old-fashioned dev trade upgrades. CJ Stroud is a superstar dev player. No surprise, he had a crazy good season. Dalton Schultz, maybe more surprisingly, is a superstar dev player now. All right, I'll take that. I mean, it's a big W. And then on the defense, we see To'o at X Factor. We see Anderson Jr. at X Factor. We see Petrie at X Factor. We see Caleb Banks at Superstar. Bullock is a superstar. Wow, that's some crazy good development. This team's here to stay. This team is younger, and here to stay. Especially with a quarterback like CJ Stroud. Now, the only bad thing about having CJ Stroud and winning the Super Bowl the way that we are is the dynasty could be in trouble because his contract is coming up along with Will Anderson Jr. So our two big franchise pieces are going to need extensions. That might halter the dynasty at a little bit, but hey, as long as we get one, I don't think Texans fans are going to care. So let's go to this Super Bowl and see if we can officially complete this rebuild. For the first time in franchise history, we have the Houston Texans playing in a Super Bowl. Could they go 1-for-1 in their Super Bowl appearances? We are taking on the New York Giants, who have a couple in their history. We don't talk about those more recent ones. Although, to be fair to me, those ones aren't technically that recent nowadays. But still, they have a couple on their resume. We'd like to add one to our resume, and here we go. We've got a pressure situation. It is, what is this, Florida? Is it raining like crazy? What's going on here? Where are we even at? I don't even know what the Super Bowl is at. But it is raining like crazy. It's a minute to go in the game. The entire game is on the line right here. We have a chance to win it with a field goal or a touchdown. Just very same situation that we had with the Bills in the AFC title game. We have all of our timeouts. All we need is 3. So if we just keep inching a little bit closer every play, we'll get there. Let's switch this to the other side and go with it here. Because I think Marvin's probably my go-to guy across the middle. Yeah, Marv's open enough. Actually, he wasn't that open, but he ended up holding on for the catch anyway, so we'll take it. And we're not going to call a timeout because the players shouldn't have taken that long to get to the line of scrimmage, but I guess they technically did. Hand out to Joe Mixon, and that did not work. Okay, that was a bad call. I thought that the run was going to be more open than that, but the Giants did a good job. That was a pretty bad call. We need to get closer. And that'll be just close enough. Higgins is able to get us there. Oh, they saved us. The Giants called a timeout. I was going to call my third timeout right there, but the Giants gave me a break. They broke me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar, and now we still have our timeout remaining. I wonder if we get this first down, what they're going to do. Hand off. It's not going to matter because we didn't get the first down. Wow. Abdul Carter destroyed Joe Mixon on that one, but they're not calling their timeout. So we're going to kick this. Oh, they don't want me to kick the field goal? I feel like we got to kick the field goal, right? I mean, we're going to call our final timeout. What's the distance? Who's our kicker? Special teams. It's a 54-yard field goal for the Super Bowl, and they're going to ice me. It's dead center. I don't have to worry about that. All I have to worry about is the meter. I think I can make this. Can I not? I don't know who my kicker is, but it's not Fairbairn anymore. It's somebody named Love. I don't have to worry about the meter. It's dead center. Or the arrow. The meter is all I have to worry about. Here we go. For the Super Bowl. That should be good enough, right? No, it's going to hook left. I think I put too much on it. Oh, it had the distance. I think I put the arrow too far. Oh, that's backbreaking. Oh, we go to overtime. I think I put too much on the arrow. I was trying to make sure I had enough power on it, and I think I put too much, and it went wobbly, and it went to the left. Oh, that sucks. That could have been the game winner right there in regulation. But now we just have overtime, which the Giants had their possession and they didn't do anything with it. So now it's next score wins, I'm pretty sure. Handoff, Mixon. Look at the blocking. Joe Mixon gets us to field goal range. Oh, boys, I can feel it. I can feel it burning in my loins right now. A Super Bowl is on the horizon. And here comes Joe Mixon. He's got a lot of room. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Things are happening. Loins are burning. Juices are flowing. The Texans might be a couple of yards away from history. Handoff. Another one to Joe. He brings it to the 11. He's got 142 yards today. He stepped up in the big moment. Woody Marks comes in. I'm going to have to fire that quickly. Good Lord. Is that Deonte Banks? I don't know who that is, but somebody got in there quick. Somebody got in there pretty quick. 3rd and 4. Does Dalton Schultz get open? I think Dalton's open enough. Dalton Schultz holds on for the first down. Dalton Schultz. Oh, that's a big boy catch right there in the huge moments. A 3rd down and gotta have it. He did get it. And Joe Mixon will win us the Super. That's the win, right? Is that the win? It is the win. The Houston Texans are Super Bowl champions for the first time in franchise history. We have officially completed the rebuild. Jalen Petrie saying, ring me. Oh, you're going to get your ring, buddy. You are going to get your ring. CJ Stroud is now a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Will Anderson Jr. is a Super Bowl champion. We kept basically this entire Houston team around. It's unfortunate that we couldn't get it done last year before Danielle Hunter retired, but we do get one with basically the whole Texans team still here. Except for the offensive line. The offensive line is probably the biggest change that we had to do. But that was, we needed it. We weren't going to win anything if we had that offensive line. So we spent a couple years rebuilding this team, and D'Amico Ryans can say he won a Super Bowl as a head coach. Did he win one as a player? Did he win one as a... I don't think... Hold on, now I got to look. I don't think he won one as a player, but I could be wrong. D'Amico Ryans. Did you win one as a player, dog? Let's go to your award history. Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2006. I guess I can show this to you if you want. Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2006. He was an All-Pro in 2007, a 2-time Pro Bowler, total sack leader, solo tack leader, if I could speak. No, he doesn't have a Super Bowl. I couldn't remember if he won one or not, because I know he played, obviously, for the Texans a while, but then he got to the Eagles, and I guess he wasn't on... I didn't realize how long, when he was on the Eagles, because I didn't know if he was on that 2018 Eagles team that beat the Patriots. But he was not. He was a little bit too before that time, and obviously he was on the Texans for a while, so he's not going to win one there. Okay, so I couldn't remember. That was what I was thinking. I couldn't remember if he was on that 2018 Eagles team that won against the Patriots, but he was not. So we win the Super Bowl. He gets one officially. Oh, man. What a rebuild. That was a fun one. I liked it. It was fun doing the Texans because they already had a lot of the pieces there. You just needed to fill in a little bit extra. Let's simulate to find out who won Super Bowl MVP and everything, and then we can wrap up this video. Who is going to be... I would assume it's going to be Joe Mixon. I mean, he had the touchdown to win it in overtime, and he had like 150 yards or something, so I would assume he's going to be... Maybe he had more than that. He might have had 170 yards, actually. I'm assuming it's going to be him, but let's find out. It is Joe Mixon. Josh Allen, that fraud, wins the MVP for the Bills in the regular season. Jamar Chase and Greg Rousseau are the players of the year, and then Jeremiah Smith on the Saints and Colin Simmons of the Chargers are your rookies of the year. But the Houston Texans are Super Bowl champions for the first time ever. Oh, let's go wrap up this video with the team. Here is your final Super Bowl winning team. Like I said, this is basically the same team. I mean, the offensive line is completely different, but the wide receivers are the same, except for we don't have Tank Dell anymore. We added Marvin Harrison, but the quarterback's the same, the running back's the same, even the backup running back is the same. The tight end obviously is the same, and then on defense, exact same linebackers except for, well, I mean, Christian Harris is here, but we added DeMar Van Overshown. Danielle Hunter retired, or he would have been still here. Togiai's still here. The corners are still here. We added Marlon Humphrey and Emerson. Petrie and Bullock are still here. It's It's the Texans with just a little bit of the juice sprinkled in there. And we will win a Super Bowl. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave it a like, subscribe to the channel for more, join the Juice Club. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers, so if you want to help me get to that mark, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Juice Club. And also, let me know down below in the comments other teams that might have not made the playoffs or maybe got bounced in the wild card round or whatever, and let me know if you want to see me rebuild them in the future, and I will take them on as we get ready for not only the Super Bowl, but also the offseason, which will lead to free agency, which will lead to the draft, and that's where the rebuilds start going. I always do rebuilds with the quarterbacks that get drafted, so obviously we'll do a Raiders-Mendoza rebuild whenever that happens, if that actually is what they do. We'll do a Ty Simpson quarterback rebuild wherever he gets drafted. We'll do, I always do like the top 5, and then like any other important players that get drafted, so we'll get there one, but that's still like a couple months away, obviously. But once free agency hits and some big players start moving around, then we'll do rebuilds with that. It's the normal NFL offseason stuff that we always do. But if there's any playoff teams you want to see me rebuild, or teams like the teams that I haven't already done, I've done the Saints already. I've done a Raider one already. I've done a Ravens. I'm thinking about doing a Bills one. The Bills one could be fun because they are frauds. Let's see what else could be fun. Maybe I've already done a Chiefs rebuild. I've actually done multiple Chiefs rebuilds, which is kind of weird. But I've done a couple Chiefs rebuilds. I could do maybe let's see, look at some teams. I've done a Jets rebuild before. I did a Jets rebuild when they traded their Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams, I think. So I've done a Cowboy rebuild, have I not? Yeah, I did, because I did when Micah Parsons got traded. I did a Cowboy rebuild. Have I done a Colts rebuild yet? I don't think I've done a Colts rebuild yet. I haven't done a Titans rebuild this year. So maybe a Titans one could be good. We're going to do another Raider one when Fernando Mendoza gets drafted there, obviously. I don't know. There's a ton of options. Let me know down below if you have any other teams that I haven't said that you want to see me do. And I will catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. Peace.